It's time now for the week that was. Let's take a look at the top stories that made headlines around the globe this week. Starting with the family of Glory Adekolore, a fresh graduate of the University of Benin who was raped and murdered by yet-to-be-identified assailants. They have called on relevant authorities to seek justice over the killing of their daughter. Arise correspondent Christy Macaulay has the details.
22-year-old Gloria Adekolore, a fresh graduate of the University of Benin, was last seen on the 13th of June 2024.
Justice! We need justice! Those that killed our sister, we want them to get them. They should please come to our rescue.
Because
they should please help us.
They keep for nothing.
They just killed her, they raped her.
She was at the University of Benin campus to assist her sister, who says noodles during the matriculation ceremony of the institution. The victim, though the last child, was the first graduate of the family.
9 o'clock, my mother called me. Glory never reach us. I said, Mama, Glory never see reach us. Maybe I see old up, Ola. This is my brother and my younger one. I ain't senior that my sister direct. My mother see call this one. Say, Glory never see. This one say, Glory don't waka night and waka. Why don't never reach us by this time? So we can't do. So they try the number not reachable. Not even switch off. If you say switch off, you know, say maybe the phone off. As it's not there reachable, meaning that maybe they fly mode. We can't call not reachable. 10 o'clock, my sister never call. This one work out for the area. He find her, he knows here. I say, cool, entire body. As he work out for that night, 20 they find her. Now he go back. Say, Mama, now prayer. We need the more just they pray. Me and them, my whole house say, they pray. They did their own. My mother, they shout. Now that I know, rain fall, wait for that night. That heavy at around 12 o'clock. My mother call again. He say, no, not my pikin for me. My pikin there outside now. Rain, they beat her. When I not go bring her call for me, I say, Mama, no worry, may they break. As they break, now my auntie, when we safety follow me, we go UBTH. As we reach UBTH, we enter emergency ward. We find her, there's nothing like that. They carry come for UBTH. Now we enter. As they go road, now we receive calls here. They don't kill my sister for the streets before their street for Iowa. As we reach them, my sister did lifeless for ground. She don't die. They rape her. All her back, they beat her injury. They collect her phone, collect her 218. Because she they handle my mother 18. I don't know anything about my mother 18. And she know everything. Because she be the last born. She be my mother leg and hand. And my mother take her hope for life. We are just 5. I'm the senior daughter. She's the last born. 3 boys in our middle. Yes, so she's the last. She's the hope of my mother. She's the only graduate we have. So please, we need justice. I beg, in the name of God, we beg. They should please come to our end.
Glory has been a good girl. I've not seen Glory with anybody. If she's going to work, you see her alone, going to school alone. If you come to the house, you always meet her. And precisely, she's still a virgin. She has not met any man. So I don't know why this person is just heartless. Please, we want Governor Obaseki. We want the government to come to our rescue. We are seeking for justice. They should come and help us. We want justice.
Police Public Relations Officer Chidi Nwabuzo says the police had commenced investigation.
That the disease left home in her home in Iowa community for University of Benin to submit her project work in school there. It was said that she was a student until her death. I want to tell you that our investigation is ongoing. And the outcome of it will be made known to the members of the public.
Meanwhile, the state government, in a statement signed by the Commissioner of Communication and Orientation, Chris Naihare, has given the State Police Command 7 days ultimatum to fish out the perpetrators of the crime. Christy Macaulay, Arise News.
Well, stories like this, when we come across stories like this, always breaks my heart to, just know that there are people who, regardless of the situation, can go in, according to the reports, she was raped, she was beaten, and then her body was dumped very close to her mother's house. The Edo State government has given the Edo State Commissioner of Police, CP Funsho Adeboye, 7 days to fish out who raped and killed this 22-year-old University of Benin fresh graduate. Her name Miss Adekolore Idowu Glory. Very, very heartbreaking news. When you think about it, you expect that, for someone, as you could hear her family and her siblings talking about her, that she was very well behaved. She was, I think, most recent graduate, if not the first graduate in the family, someone who had taken her work and her academics very seriously. So for what reason? I mean, I can't even think of the fear that she must have felt in those final moments where she knew that, this might have been the end for her. So to know that there's someone or certain people who are in their homes, in the safety of their homes, who took who snuffed the life out of this young woman just as she was about to start her own life, really, really makes me sad when I think about it. And my hope and my prayer is that a thorough investigation is carried out to find out who is responsible, because at the end of the day, we want people to be able to feel safe, to be able to feel secure within their own states, within their own local government areas, in their own homes. A young girl like this, these kind of reports, I mean, I know that it's a story, it's maybe something that we've heard over and over, but we should not get, our hearts shouldn't turn to stone when we hear these kind of stories. This is a whole family that has been affected, and I really hope and pray that it doesn't happen again. And these people are caught and are used as, an example for those who think that they can go out and commit such atrocious crimes and get away with it.
Very well said, Shaitan. I mean, this is a very sad one. And of course, our condolences will go to the family of Glory, young, brilliant 22-year-old Glory, who has been killed, sadly, by people that we still do not know. I think the three authorities involved have spoken. The University of Benin, UniBen, where she has just finished, the state government, and of course the police in Edo State. I think it is important that we see that there is seriousness about what has happened. I'm not too sure about a 7-day ultimatum that the Edo State government has given to the police. I'm not sure that is within the right of Edo State government. If the idea is to communicate the urgency that they have attached to that is fine. But what would be important is to say, let us work together so that in the next 7 days, we can have something concrete to say to the people of Edo State, to the family of the deceased, and to Nigerians in general. What happens after 7 days if you say that you have given the police ultimatum and they can't make a headway? You punish them or what? No. I think that the desperation shouldn't distract from what has happened. What is also important is that justice should mean that the perpetrators are apprehended, one, and that the family of Glory, a poor family that she came from, can also be supported, one way or the other by the Edo State government. I think that will be part of what we should be looking at. Crime exists everywhere, but then when it comes to murder, when it comes to rape, when it comes to assault, we really shouldn't spare any detail to ensure that justice is done. And we would like to know, was it one person? How many were they? Who are they? Students? Thugs?
Or witnesses?
Exactly. It is important that the Edo State government and the Nigerian police, Edo State Command, get to the root of this as fast as possible. Again, our sympathies go to the family of Glory. All right, we'll move on. As the death toll from the latest cholera outbreak hits 40, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control says the country is fast running out of vaccines. According to Director General of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. Jide Idris, Nigeria has placed an order for more cholera vaccines from donor agencies, even as the date of delivery is still unknown. The NCDC board stressed the need for the country to embrace the use of vaccines and other preventive measures to curb the spread of the acute diarrhea infection. Cholera is a food and waterborne disease caused by the ingestion of bacterium, Vibrio cholerae, in contaminated water and food. Well, Shaitan, I mean, it looks like this is where we are. It's not, the cholera surge is not relenting. I like the fact that Dr. Jide Idris, who, by the way, was, a 2- or 3-time commissioner for health in Lagos State, who's now with the Center for Disease Control in Abuja, is speaking out, loudly and clearly to Nigerians about the danger that we face. And of course, it isn't just the fact that about 40 people have died so far, but about the fact that we are running out of vaccine. And I think a platform actually reported that we've totally run out of vaccines and we are waiting for fresh deliveries. And of course, nobody knows when they will come. I do not think that that is good enough. Nobody waits till disaster strikes before you now start ordering, what you will use. And like Dr. Madufoka explained to us last Sunday, was it, on this program, you can predict the time that this sort of outbreak will happen, usually during raining season and things like that. So a smart country will prepare, whether it will be a high outbreak or a low outbreak. Prepare, and part of your preparation will be that you are adequately equipped for the vaccines that will be used. But again, having said that, what is important is now to encourage all the states that are affected to speak with one voice, to work with the Center for Disease Control, and to continue to communicate, to the people. I see what the Bayelsa State health authorities are trying to do, trying to deny the fact that there's no cholera in Bayelsa. That may be right, but then the emphasis should not be about denial. It should be about what are you doing? Because you are also, water prone. You are also, you've had it in the past. So go beyond denial. Yes. Show that you are prepared in case something happens. Lagos State has been heavily attacked, but I see that all the local government areas where this thing is happening is being highlighted, and special coverage is given and attention is given to all those areas, Saleko, Koshofe, a few other places. I think that's the right way to go, and I'm sure that as we go, fully into the rainy season, a lot more will have to be done, because frankly speaking, there's little you can do in terms of nature, but you can do a lot in terms of prevention.
Definitely, I agree with you there. I mean, we have a total of 401 cases recorded so far, and even in Lagos, the death toll itself has hit 21. And rightfully, like
that's
you
400,
said,
that's
401.
That's out of close to 2,000 globally. That's a high number.
Very,
for one
of course,
country.
very, very high number. And just like you said, I mean, we do know that in Nigeria we have 2 seasons, rainy and dry season, and the rainy season is known to be associated with floods that lead to an increase in the water level, and that water level in itself, which gets contaminated and now leads directly to cholera. I was reading, just because I was a bit curious, I was reading this article from the National Library of Medicine, the Journal of Medicine, that was talking about, the cluster sampling and how terrorism, floods, improper sewage disposal, as well as the lack of environmental hygiene being the main causes of the spread of cholera. And when you think about the rainy season almost kind of going hand in hand with the current economic situation in the country, you realize that a lot of people are not paying as much attention to the kind of food and the kind of water or drinks that
standards have been dropped. Capacity for purchase is low.
I always make reference to when I want to talk about how bad things are in the country, because it's something that I had not seen in a long time. When I went to buy tubers of I went to buy tubers of yam, but I ended up buying 1 tuber because that's what I could afford. But then what I now saw was people that had chopped up that yam and just put it on the floor. I put it on the floor because that's what they can afford. You can imagine you see that yam just beside a gutter that hasn't been cleaned, and those are the kind of things that lead to this kind of disease spreading.
So there's a connect between the economic challenges we're currently facing, and the cholera outbreak.
The cholera outbreak,
even though, yes,
with the backdrop of the rainy season. So, it's something that we can keep saying, wash you. Of course, the proper thing is to wash your hands, make sure you boil your food properly, don't eat, raw food. But then there are people that necessarily don't even have a choice. They don't have access to clean water. It's what they can afford. They don't have light to be able to, maybe even boil this water. I'll just try and make sure that
the situation in our markets, for example,
is not healthy at all. And I was reading an article actually this morning about, the Lagos State government suspending school food vendors who didn't necessarily match, didn't step up to the status quo as to how their environmental hygiene. Last week we were talking to the doctor. I remember you were talking about how we don't even see these the wole woles who come and make sure. I can remember as a young adult, those sanitary inspectors, when they are coming around on Saturday morning, we already know that it is environmental sanitation. Every Thursday we used to see that in the market, but now we don't have that anymore. So everything just combined is not the best for the country. And when you also think about the fact that we don't even now have access to the vaccines that can stop the spread of cholera, it's something that we really have to pay attention to. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that there are certain states that have stepped up to the game, working with their local government areas to make sure that they get to the nitty-gritty, because if this thing spreads, it's not going to be funny for anyone. And we'll continue to monitor this story, and hopefully we start to see a decline in the spread of this very horrible disease. Now, moving on very quickly to our next story. President Bola Tinubu over the past week acknowledged that Nigerians are going through a lot, but that poverty and suffering is a worldwide phenomenon and not peculiar to Nigerians. The president seized the occasion to restate his commitment to confront those challenges head-on and asked for the collective effort of Nigerians in that direction, as well as a change in mindset. President Tinubu underscored the importance of addressing fundamental issues such as banditry, as terrorism, which hinder agricultural productivity and economic growth, and highlighted the need for improved infrastructure, including roads and transportation networks, to facilitate the movement of agricultural produce and reduce post-harvest losses. You see, well, I agree with the president. It's true. We are not the only ones that are, going through this right now. I mean, if you look at the poverty index, there are other nations, not just Nigeria, but
we're the poverty capital of the world.
We are.
I hope you remember.
I know. I'm going somewhere.
That's not an enviable
but
position
it's almost
to be in,
like it's almost like an oversized person that's trying to lose weight and going to the gym, and the instructor says, "Oh, you're fat, but just look around. There are so many fat people." No, that's not what you want to hear. No, what you want to hear is the gym instructor telling you that, okay, let us measure your body mass. Let us see how tall you are. These are the exercises that you need to do to be able to lose weight. What is your target? Are you trying to lose belly fat? Are you trying to lose? And then start to construct exercises that actually will make you lose weight, not point to everybody in the gym that, everybody,
to say that I'm not alone.
I'm not alone. So at this point, I think what the president should be doing is a comprehensive approach to tackle our specific challenges, not generalizations that currently dismiss our experiences. Just this morning, we've spoken about cholera outbreak. Yes. We've spoken about a young girl who was killed on her way back from school, going from school back to her home. We know what's happening right now in Rivers State with the breakdown of law and order. We saw a police officer that was killed. We've had information that jihadists have made their way and have crossed into the Nigerian border. We know what's happening with economic crisis. There's people that are having to buy slices of yam in the market for 500 naira. There's flooding. There's so much going on. How about we pick a struggle and we start to figure out how to go about it, as opposed to these generalizations or not talking about tangible solutions, not reminders that others are facing similar challenges. No, that's not how you do it. You look inwards and you address your country's unique challenges. So for me, it's really disheartening when you hear those those in charge saying, oh, those that are addressed to higher, that we put there to address our problems, make statements like, oh, we're not the only ones that are suffering, we're not the only ones that, we know we're not the only ones, but what is being done to make sure that we are no longer on that list, Mr. President?
Well said, Shaitan. Like you, I also get the point of what the president was, trying to say. Because at this point, you can no longer deny that things are tough. You can no longer say that it is not real. Like a few people around government have tried to do in the past. In the past, government tried to deny. You can no longer deny. But then when you are now confronted with so much negativity, I know that it can be a bit overwhelming. Maybe that's the reason why the president now said, okay, we're trying our best. These issues are germane, but then it is not peculiar to Nigeria. I think the missing link is how that was communicated. To start with, it was not necessary to add that addendum. Say what your government is trying to do, particularly at this time, 1 year after you've entered effectively into your second year out of the 4 years tenure in office. What are you doing to ensure that the effect of the reforms that you have undertaken will not kill the people in the process or kill them any longer? And I think it is important for those who work with the president. Let me put it this way. I think it is important for Mr. President to be conscious of how he puts things like that, so that those who walk around him, those who trumpet what he says, do not say, oh, it looks like this is the direction that the president wants us, to take, and therefore the president says, Nigeria is not alone in all these troubles. Then you begin to see all the communications around issues of cost of living crisis, around issues of poverty, around issues of corruption, going in the direction of we're not alone in this. I think that will be counterproductive to what I suspect that the president is either trying to do or trying, to say. And this is why we see these days those who are either directly speaking for the government or those who are being contracted outside speaking, trying to shift the blame on the people rather than on those who made the policies, especially those that were not properly, thought through. People are now saying that, oh, if you say that tomatoes and pepper are too expensive, how about you growing them in your backyard? I mean, that is insulting to Nigerians, okay? Why? If we say that fuel is too expensive, why are you not advising that everybody should have a modular refinery? Since you think that we should go and grow yam of tuber that you went to buy in the market or tomato in a backyard. I understand. I mean, that everybody, since Shagari period, Operation Feed the Nation, Green Revolution, of course, everybody knows the value of farming and agriculture. But it is this same government that said, not 3 months into the administration, that, we will open up everything, we will declare an emergency on food security. Well, one year after, where are we on the emergency that was declared? If we cannot find cheaper fuel, I'm not saying cheap fuel, cheaper fuel to buy it because we have it in abundance here, it is because the government failed to maintain 4 refineries. It is because the government every time lies to the people about the fact that the refineries were ready to work. Why are we importing? Why were we subsidizing? It's because there was failure. So I think that these things should be put in perspective before analysis of we are not alone will be given. And I think that will be an important thing for people around the president to learn so that better communications will be done going forward. All right, let's quickly go to Rivers State, where the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has called for a state of emergency to be declared following the ongoing political crisis in the state. Caretaker Committee Chairman of the party in the state, Tony Okocha, said at a news briefing in Port Harcourt that crime and unrest had returned to the state following the failure of the People's Democratic Party administration to conduct local government elections.
When the council chairman, so to speak, as far as we are concerned, illegal council chairman, because again, who screened them? 3 assembly members. When Supreme Court had made a decision on that matter somewhere, some time ago, when it concerns a governor, in Plateau State, Supreme Court said, what one thought is, it's not about the people who are sitting, it's about the majority of members of the assembly. What we have in this state today is a situation where we have 3 assembly members. One is speaker, the other one is deputy speaker. Maybe the other one is majority leader, because there must be a majority leader to sponsor bills of government. That's what we have. Isn't that illegality? You can see that the man is thriving in illegality. So we are in trouble in the state. We are in a state of war. And because the governor is unteachable, and because the governor does not listen to counsel, even the counsel of Mr. President, APC River State that I represent today is demanding for a state of emergency in River State. It is the way out so that you and I will live in peace. And I have said so because it will be too late to cry when the head is off. The reasons for war, full-blown, the indices of war, full-blown, are palpable, they are clear.
All right, still swimming in the rivers of trouble. Interesting. I do not blame the APC for trying to,
declare a state of emergency.
Cash it. It is not left to them to declare a state of emergency. They're just urging the president to do so. I don't think that's a wise thing to say. You don't, because you want to rubbish the governor who belongs to another party, now call for a state of emergency. Which war is going on in River State? I mean, if state of emergency was not declared in a few other states where we have had issues, of Party A and Party B fighting, House of Assembly and things like that, why should it happen at this point in River State? Of course, that is not to say that there are no issues there. I mean, we've always maintained that these are rivers of trouble. But we know what the issues are. The president knows what the issues are. And I don't think that the next step for the president will be to say, I'm declaring a state of emergency. I'm not sure that a civilian president will want to go through that route so soon in his administration. The local government election, I think the date has even been announced by the River State, INEC, to give an indication that it is now left for the governor to ensure that the election is conducted at the appropriate time. But also we remember what happened when Wike was governor. And exactly, yes. and on Amaechi. We remember that Rivers has always been, this volatile. So if the issue between Governor Fubara and his erstwhile godfather, Wike, is no longer smooth, we'll respect that there will be a lot of issues. And these are the issues that we are dealing with. Should it affect the affairs of the state and the statutory duties, of each, levels of government, like the local government, for example? It shouldn't. And I don't think that the first thing you should do is to say, let's have a state of emergency because caretaker committee chairmen have been assigned to take over from those whose tenure has ended. What is not in doubt is that their tenure has ended. Do you want to give yourself additional 6 months? I don't think that they have such authority. Is it proper to have caretaker committee? Maybe not. But then, do you leave the state, in vacuum?
Yeah.
It is not for those whose tenure has ended to be dictating what should happen.
Yes.
If you want to return as local government chairman, contest when the date, when the date is announced.
Definitely, I agree with you 100%. I mean, declaring a state of emergency is not a viable option. No. That's not what Rivers State needs right now. And to just take a chapter, this is another chapter in the book of Rivers of trouble. The degeneration of this contention between, the immediate past governor and the current governor of Rivers State. This is just, another chapter in that book. And when you think about the justification of this caretaker committee, of the governor, him saying that, it's been done in other states, I honestly don't think that you are in a situation where two wrongs will make it right. I'm very happy that now, a date has been selected. Like you said, it's now just up to the governor to, to decide exactly when that election is going to happen. But for me, I think the biggest part of this, we did see, during the week, the police, the police move in to make sure that there's no breakdown in law and order. And that is always what is the most important thing. Yes. Because in all of this, who is suffering these things? It's the people of Rivers State. Yeah. The governor has been in power for 1 year now, but has he had the breathing room to be able to do what is needed?
His first 9 months.
Exactly. What is needed to do.
That was powerless.
Thank you very much. In the state for the people, these matters are before the courts. We're now in a situation where it's all eyes on the judiciary to be fair, to be just, and to make sure that these elections are actually carried out. And I think that's where we're going to just nip it on the bud this week.
That's the way it should be. All right. That's all we can take on big stories from the passing week. But before we get to our first guest, let's quickly tell you about a couple of stories making the rounds at the moment. And we'll start with Israeli forces have shelled tent camps for displaced Palestinians north of Rafah, killing at least 45 people and wounding another 50. And that's according to Gaza's health ministry and emergency workers. According to Ahmed Rodwan, a spokesperson for the civil defense first responders in Rafah, witnesses told rescue workers about the shelling at 2 locations in the coastal area that has become filled with tents. The Israeli military said they were looking into the strikes at the reported coordinates. Israel has previously bombed locations in the vicinity of the humanitarian zone in Muwasi, a rural area on the Mediterranean coast that has filled with sprawling tent camps in recent months.
That is indeed quite sad, but unfortunately more sad news as the official death toll from this year's Hajj pilgrimage has soared to almost 500, and the true toll could be more than double as reports emerged that many as 600 Egyptian worshippers perished en route to Mecca amid extreme heat. At least 14 Malaysians, 165 Indonesians, 68 Jordanians, 35 Pakistanis, 35 Tunisians, 11 Iranians and 98 Indians have died, according to authorities in each country. A further 22 Jordanians are hospitalized and 16 are still missing. The Jordanian foreign minister said, was the one who confirmed this. Now, dozens of Iranians have also been hospitalized due to heat stroke and other conditions. The Iranian Red Crescent said this on Wednesday, according to Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency. The death tolls are expected to rise much further as Saudi Arabia and Egypt have yet to release official figures. The pilgrims journeyed this year in dangerously high temperatures of up to 49 degrees Celsius.
All right, that's all on the week that was.